Something we're going to do every Monday to kick off the show. Are you ready? Mondays with Meghan. Joining us is, of course, Meghan McCain. Obviously, her dad, the late, great John McCain. And Meghan is going to join us every single Monday to kick the show off up until the election. So we got 4 weeks with Meghan. Meghan, how are you today?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to joining you for this last sprint before the election. And it's nice to meet you too, Gayle.
You know what? I feel like I should curtsy. You have on the phone one time, and I just feel like I should curtsy because you're political royalty.
Oh, please.
No, a side note, we both have worked. We both have. Tell you that,
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Saturday Night Live nicknamed me the Princess of Arizona a million years ago, and it was not flattering. It was meant to be like a dig, and that nickname haunts me. Someone wrote it on my Starbucks cup a month ago. I can't, I don't know what to do about it anymore. And it's so gross and derogatory. And I mean, Gaydos knew my dad very well, and he would have hated it.
You know what? So. I knew your dad. I've interviewed him multiple times. And you know what? I have to say, I loved John McCain, like in person. And you know what? He and I had the biggest laugh we ever had going over his performance on SNL before the election against Obama. He was so funny. He was so gracious. And so, you know, I'm just delighted that you're here to talk about your dad's legacy with us today and the current political climate.
Yeah, let's get to the politics, because over the weekend, NBC had a poll. Kamala Harris had a 5-point lead a month ago, and it's all but evaporated. Okay, why is it all but evaporated, Meghan? What happened?
You know, I think she had a really ill-advised media strategy. I think she went on the wrong shows and did the wrong kind of interviews. And I think she had really bad answers. I mean, I think her answer on my old show, The View, when they said, would you have done anything wrong the past 4 years, when 72% of the American public, according to NBC polling, has a negative impression of the past 4 years and don't think things have gone well the past 4 years, it's just a bad answer. And to me, I'm just getting flashbacks of when she was running for president the first time. I'm sort of getting like Hillary flashbacks a little bit. And if there's one thing that I know some of the people who are around her. I know of them. And these are people who just continue to lose elections. And I think she's getting really bad advice. And I just also don't think she has very natural instincts when it comes to being, a high-level, high-wire politician. This is a woman who's never actually had to win over a Republican or an independent to become elected to anything. And I think it's showing. And the polls are tightening. And I can tell you just from here in the Beltway, people are getting very, very nervous.
Mondays with Meghan McCain every Monday. Meghan's going to join us to kick off the show at 4 up until Election Day. You're talking about The View. Here's the clip.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Afghanistan. How about that one? How about all the stimulus checks Biden sent out and then inflation got blown out of the water? How about the border for 3.5 years? You wouldn't change a thing? That's one of the worst answers I've seen a candidate make, and it could bury her.
Well, you know what? The question for me for Meghan is this, Meghan. We have Meghan McCain on, outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos, and I have to say, I think her going to talk to Bret Baier, don't you think she's going to be on the attack when it comes, or have better answers?
Okay, so she's going on Fox News. This is a different strategy, Meghan. Don't go on The View. They all love her. Hey, how about going on Fox News? Is that going to help her campaign get it kicked in the rear end?
Well, she's going on The Breakfast Club with Charlemagne and Bret Baier, which are two of the most challenging, high-level interviewers in America easily. And if she gives answers like that or she starts stumbling, it's going to be very bad. I think there's a high wire act for her, but what else can she do? I mean, she's not out traditionally campaigning. I talked to Selena Zito, the Washington Examiner reporter who lives in rural Pennsylvania and called the election for Trump in 2015. She said she's not on the ground in any counties in Pennsylvania. She does events that are closed that you have to be invited to. What else is she going to do? She's got to utilize the media, but she should have been doing Fox News months ago. She should have been doing this at the beginning of her campaign. And if I'm them, all this says to me is they're seeing polling that shows all the things we have been told, which is she's having a very difficult time with black men and with independent and center right-leaning women.
Okay, let's go down that road. Meghan McCain's joining us. Why aren't black guys voting for Kamala?
I hate identity politics in general because she's actually having a problem with all men, not just black men. It's older men, white men, young men, black men, Asian men. Like, she's having a problem with men. And I think the Democrats really do this a lot. They turn everything into identity politics. And I think, she's not talking enough about the economy. I don't understand many issues that she hasn't fully explained. Time magazine just came out saying that they offered her many opportunities to do an interview with them for the cover story that she turned down while President Trump sat with a 90-minute interview. I don't like the guy, but he's explaining his policies. And you're expecting me to go on, and this is their wording and their messaging, not mine, joy and vibes going into the next 4 years when, the issues facing our country are so overwhelming and so scary. I just don't think the average person who's paying 26% more for groceries now than they were 4 years ago is going to go into the voting booth and be like, well, joys and vibes and, Governor Walt's wearing a camel hat is enough for me. It's just not how people vote.
Well, because people feel they're not better off and she's been in that party for 4 years, do you think she's trying to disassociate herself by going with the hope and joy as opposed to running on the record, which apparently economists say her plan is better than Trump's plan, but she's not touting that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've read that, and I believe the Wall Street Journal came out and said the same thing. I am so far from being an economist, but I do know that whatever message they're putting out, I've asked many Democratic strategists different times about this very issue, and their answer is read her website. Well, I have time to read her website, and it's vague, and the average American does not have time to go to her website. So my question for Democrats is, why is your messaging falling so hard? Because in every single reputable poll in the country, by a vast supermajority, not just a majority, supermajority, all voters feel more confident in the economy under President Trump than they do her. And I think it's just because, I like to make things really simple for myself and for other people. When I ask Democrats who come on my podcast, why is it like this? They say, well, it is getting better. Jobs are good. But if you go to the grocery store, I have 2 young kids. The amount of money I spend on milk and eggs and fruit every week would blow your mind. Anyone with young kids knows. And I just think the average person, it doesn't matter. If your interest rates aren't moving at the grocery store or in your home and you can't afford to buy anything, I just think it comes off kind of dour. I don't know. It's not resonating at all, which I find fascinating because they have allegedly every brilliant strategist on Capitol Hill working with her right now.
Mondays with Meghan. We're talking to Meghan McCain, the daughter of the late, great John McCain. She'll join us every Monday up until the election. Okay, so Trump, he escalated his threats over the weekend against political opponents, and he was on Fox, and he's saying he could turn the military on the enemy from within. What are we talking about here? Is if he gets into office, is he saying that he's going to go and round up his enemies and put them in jail? And who are his enemies? Are they Democrats? Is this what he wants to do?
Not to make too much of a joke of it, but my dear friend Tulsi Gabbard endorsed President Trump, and she's on the road with him and members of his team. And I said, if he gets elected, can you just do me a solid and make sure I'm not one of the people rounded up? I hope that I'm not included in that because I'm probably on the enemy list too. I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. I have no idea. I have no idea what he's saying. It's not a message, and if he loses, it's going to be in no small part because of things like this. And also in all this poll, I sit on a lot of focus groups, a lot of data, a lot of polling. The thing that is killing him the most is his personality more than anything else. It's people just find a great majority of people that are independents and center right and center left just find him intolerable. And if he could just act like a normal person, he would be winning this in a landslide. But it's not his nature. There's a new movie out that's going into great detail about how he turned into the person he is. I personally don't have the time nor the stomach to watch it, but I think it's just who he is. He's an agent of chaos, and I don't think that'll change if he's elected.
Is he winning, though, with immigration? Because the way he's talking about it, Meghan, it's toxic anti-immigrant rhetoric. For me, border's a huge deal. Huge. Joe Biden, terrible on the border. Worst president of my lifetime on the border. But Trump is saying that these outsiders, bad genes, and they've invaded, and he's saying that the Haitian immigrants are eating dogs. That's not the case. He had a rally out in Arizona, and he was, saying that the entire country would be turned into a migrant camp if Harris were elected. I don't even know what to do with that.
No, I mean, I agree. I've always found his rhetoric, especially when it comes to immigration like that, intolerable. But then, I'm sitting watching clips this weekend and Sunday before I went to bed, watching Martha Raddatz of ABC interviewing J.D. Vance, basically lecturing him that it's no big deal that Venezuelan gangs have taken over a, quote, handful of hotels in Aurora, Colorado. If you're living in Aurora, Colorado, and there's dangerous gangs, hurting people and, sexually assaulting people and stealing from people, like, that's a big issue in your town. And having Democrats tell you it's not an issue and you're racist if it is, I mean, I think it's all a mess. I think both sides' messaging is honestly just garbage and not addressing the problem in any significant way. And what I find fascinating more than anything is that in this moment, because again, I find so much of it really intolerable and repulsive. I mean, he's leading in the Hispanic vote right now at the highest majority of any Republican candidate since President Bush in 2004. He's also, in the recent Zogby polling, he has the highest rate of black male voters voting for him since 1960 with Richard Nixon. Yeah. So I can't completely understand everything that's going on, but something he's saying is resonating with a group of voters that I don't think Democrats anticipated.
All right. Every Monday, Meghan McCain, you will kick off our show. We're listening to your podcast, Citizen McCain.
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Yes, you got to come on.
We'd love to.
Can I ask you guys one question?
Sure.
One question?
Yes.
Can you please just give me some gossip on Gallego and Carrie Lake? Because everybody keeps asking me.
Okay.
And I keep saying I think she is going to lose. I think, but I no longer physically live in Arizona anymore. Although, as Gaydos knows, I'm hoping that'll change in the near future.
Yep.
What do you think she is going to win? Do you think she's going to lose?
Okay, I think she's going to lose. I mean, the polls say that, they're anywhere between 4 and 11 points. And independents don't like Carrie Lake. She's tried to reinvent herself, and it's hard to do that. I mean, when you go after your dad like she did, when she went after McCain Republicans like Arizona citizens like she did and said, don't vote for me, maybe the dumbest thing a politician has ever said in this state, I don't think she's able to recover from that. And when she was debating Gallego, she's way more slick than Gallego. I mean, it's not even close. Gallego was a bit nervous. I mean, who wouldn't be nervous going against Carrie Lake? She's a tough cookie. I just don't think she has enough people to vote for her. I know a lot of Republicans who are voting for Trump, and they're either voting for Gallego, or not all of them, but a lot of them are either going to vote for Gallego or leave it blank. So they just don't like Carrie Lake.
Yeah,
that's it. They just don't like her.
I don't like her either. I know that's going to shock you guys, but I will be curious if she'll run for another office again if she loses and lose yet another seat for Republicans.
I know. Well, because they didn't want her to run this time, and they're not throwing this. The Republicans aren't throwing any money behind her either. I mean, she's all by herself. So we'll talk a little Carrie. I thought I'd give you the day off on the Carrie stuff.
Oh no, I love it. I mean, not to be like, I'm messy, so I love when somebody insults my family and karma comes right back at them.
I know.
I mean,
I will not do that. I'm sorry.
No
That's
way.
not the kind of person I am.
Hey, Megan, we'll talk to you next Monday, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Mondays with Meghan McCain every Monday.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.